Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Stock Talk. This is a series that I make whenever I feel it's necessary, where I give you my thoughts on some exciting news and price action in regard to some of the stocks that we've been talking about on the channel. Alright, so in today's case, we are focused on some biotech companies focused around a COVID-19 vaccine and relief, treatment, I should say. So specifically, as I'm sure you guys assume because it's in the title of the video, we are going to cover Moderna, Inovio, Novavax, and Sorrento. Okay, so as you can see here on my watch list on the right, we will just go down the line. So Moderna, Inovio, Novavax, and Sorrento. We're going to take a look at all of the charts. I'm going to let you guys know what I'm thinking in regard to price action. So we'll go over that. And then in terms of actual news, we're going to cover one pretty exciting piece. I forgot to float my face, so let me do that quick. All right. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys want to see me, but here I am. All right. So, yeah, again, we're going to cover, in terms of news at least, we're going to cover Moderna and Inovio, okay? So Moderna is the only real exciting story in terms of news, and Inovio, I will cover literally just this one sentence because I feel like it applies to the other stocks we're talking about as well. All right, so actually let's start with the news because I feel like that's a good place to start, and then we'll look at the charts afterwards, okay? So, this is a New York Times article titled, "Trump Administration Selects 5 Coronavirus Vaccine Candidates as Finalists." All right, so as I'm sure you guys can assume, this was Moderna. Moderna was one of the companies mentioned in this article. I'm not going to read the entire thing. As always, if you guys do want to read the entire thing for yourself, you can go look for it. Again, New York Times article, New York Times, Moderna, Google that, you'll find it. But I'll read a little bit here. The Trump administration has selected 5 companies as the most likely candidates to produce a vaccine for the coronavirus, senior officials said. A critical step in the White House's efforts to deliver on its promise of being able to start widespread inoculation of Americans by the end of the year. So let's skip here. The 5 companies are Moderna, a Massachusetts-based biotech firm. Okay, so this is important too because this is the first of the 5 companies that they named. It is bolded. It has a link to it. That's good. And then they go on to list AstraZeneca on a similar schedule and 3 large pharmaceutical companies, which is J&J, Merck, and Pfizer. Okay, so again, it's good that they mentioned Moderna as the first one, and then they also said which Dr. Fauci said he expected would enter into the final phase of clinical trials next month. All right, so that is very bullish news, okay? Great news for Moderna. Again, the stock didn't see much love today. I'm not surprised with that because right now in the world, just think about this, disregarding the news, granted, this is great news in terms of COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is that the world is not focused on this as of right now, okay? So COVID-19 and this pandemic has kind of been put on the back burner in the wake of what could, again, just all the equality issues. I know you guys know about that. I don't want to get political. I do think it's important personally. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm not surprised at all to see that, and I think it is justified that these stocks have been put on the back burner for now. That said, I do think that hopefully once this gets resolved, I do think this is a long-going issue. Again, I really don't want to get into it with you guys, but I want to keep this all positive as much as I can. So not going to get into that, but again, I do think that hopefully once this gets resolved, or at least cools down. I don't think it'll get resolved for a long time, I'll say that much. But once it kind of cools down a little bit and there is a little more focus put on this sector again, I do think Moderna still is my number 1 pick in this in this sector in terms of COVID-19 vaccines. Okay, so yeah, this is great news. Again, I just want to read this to you guys right here in terms of why Inovio Pharmaceutical stock sank today. I never really liked these articles, but I just took a look at it, and I think this pretty much sums it up. The stock fell harder late in the day, though, after the New York Times reported that Trump administration selected 5 COVID-19 vaccines as the most likely to be successful. Inovio didn't make the cut. All right, so that is just rationally what makes the most sense to me as to why Inovio fell so hard today. Same as Novavax, same as probably a lot of these other vaccine companies. Those are the only ones I'm really keeping a track of on my watch list. I assume a similar thing happened to any of the companies that didn't make the watch list. So Moderna, AstraZeneca, they're stoked. I actually didn't look at AstraZeneca today. I'm focused on Moderna. Again, I don't like to, I know you guys, some of you guys know this if you follow me, but I don't like to cloud my head with too much input. I like to focus on a few players that I'm bullish on and stick to those and just keep the brain free for information in regard to those companies. So I'm focusing on the few I'm talking about today, but again, I'm sure others did good and bad today. AstraZeneca being one that did well, I assume. Okay, so Let's take a look at the charts now. Moderna, again, it is. So I'll say this from kind of the macro perspective, not macro, but pretty macro. Moderna is still following this beamish looking trend line, just kind of this upward channel you see right here, pretty well. All right, and again, aside from this dip that it actually only spent a few hours below, and then pretty quickly recovered, and then went on to kind of just follow this line of support that has been going on. Okay, so I literally haven't changed this drawing up at all over the past few weeks now. So it does reinforce this channel, this rising channel in my mind, because it is, again, if you look at that, it is bouncing really well off of this lower trend line since we had that really big dip a week or so ago. Time is flying right now. I don't even know how long ago that was. What was that? Yeah, just like a week ago. That feels like forever ago. It's crazy. But again, it is bouncing well off this line of support, so that's great. If this does continue again, and I feel like it's well warranted, considering that, again, this is one of the Trump administration's top 5, if not the number 1 of those 5 picks in regard to that Operation Warp Speed, actual like liable candidates to fuel a vaccine. So I do think that if everything goes like as best as possible, again, because they did issue those new shares or announce a new issuance of shares at $76, that is, I can definitely see it getting up to around $75 on good news. This is the most optimistic case, but if we do rely on technicals, this would make sense, just again based on this rising channel. So this predicts around from June 10th, from June 8th to June 15th, that will hit like the $90 area. Again, that is I'm personally not expecting that. I won't be, obviously because I have it drawn here, I won't be super surprised if it does happen. But that is hyper optimistic in my mind. But again, I wouldn't be surprised to see it bounce around $70 to $75. So that would be awesome if so. So we'll just see if that happens. All right. And as always, I'll keep you guys posted. Okay, so let's go down the line to Inovio. I did send this exact picture out in the newsletter this morning as soon as it broke this trend line. So this Inovio, from a technical perspective, just broke a very important trend line. Okay, so as you can see here, similar to Moderna, it was following this upward channel, and using this line of support right here, you see here, this lower line, very well. Okay, so it's following that almost to a T. Obviously, that's why I drew the support line there, but it did break down below that this morning, and once it did, it just tanked. Okay. So that was probably at the 5% point. It went on to going down a total of, 13.3% today. It's down another right now. I think it's actually down like 1% after hours. So a total of 15% today. Terrible day for Inovio. So that sucks. Again, you see here volume is down as well. I forgot to look at volume on Moderna. We'll look at that really quick. Volume on Moderna is actually pretty low too. Again, it's not surprising to me based on just all of the macroeconomic global issues going on right now aside from COVID-19. So it's not surprising that there's a lot of a definite slowdown in volume. But again, it doesn't worry me because it just takes a little bit of really good news to shoot these stocks up and see spikes in volume like we've seen over the past months. Okay, so I have mentioned this before, and you guys know this entire sector is very based on news. We'll have some good news. Something will be retracted, it'll slow down, we'll just slow down completely for a little while, go sideways, and then we'll get some other good news again, and then you'll see a spike up in price, rinse and repeat. Okay, so keep that in mind always when you're dealing with almost any biotech stock. It's very news driven. So yeah, that's Moderna, that's Inovio. We'll go on to Novavax right now. Again, Novavax looks pretty. Actually, one more thing on Moderna I wanted to show you guys is that it actually didn't. I did mention in a video about a week ago that it could potentially play out a head and shoulders right here. So left shoulder, we have head, it came down right here. And then if it continued to go on and then continue to go sideways around the $50 mark, I would have expected it to come down to back down to way down here around like $35. Technically, of course, again, news driven, but from a technical perspective, it is reinforcing to me at least that this is not forming a head and shoulders anymore. So we are still kind of sticking to this upward trend. All right, so we'll go to Novavax right here. Again, Novavax still looking. You could almost you could almost say Novavax is looking kind of like a bull flag right now. So you guys know I love my bull flags. So we'll draw a bulla flag right here. That's not quite right, but you guys know, you guys get what I'm going for right here, okay? So a descending wedge on top of a parabolic move up, that is a bull flag. So around later this week maybe, or early next week, if this does play out, this could actually be very bullish for Novavax. I might have to, again, I've been primarily focused on Inovio and Novavax. I might actually, or Inovio and Moderna, I'm sorry, but I might actually consider taking on a position in Novavax, considering this is a very good looking bull flag. So, but again, news driven, Novavax did not make the top 5 cut. That plays a very important role in my decision, which is why I have been hesitant to enter Novavax. Just because, again, fundamentally I'm skeptical on Novavax, but from a technical perspective, this is a bull flag. So this does look pretty promising. Okay, so that's Novavax. I will keep you guys, again, I'll keep you guys posted as much as I can on all of these. But that's that. We'll go on to Sorrento. Sorrento did a complete 180 in terms of just going up to a high of 10. It just kissed $10, and it's already back down to about $4. So it got over split in half. But I mean, I feel like most of the bloodshed for Sorrento is over now. Honestly, they have been facing some legal issues, but that is to be expected sometimes when you're dealing with these biotech companies. There's always going to be someone filing some lawsuit. Again, from what I've looked into, it's not I can't justify myself. Again, I might not just not be smart enough to understand the legalities involved with this specific lawsuit, but it looks just like a lot of other stuff I've seen in the past of just kind of these lawsuits that happen sometimes with these smaller companies who a lot of the legal firms can just kind of suck money out of. So we'll see what happens there. From a technical perspective, at least, it is at a point to where I would definitely, again, I am invested in Sorrento. I'm invested in all these except for Novavax, like I just said. But from a technical perspective, it is floating around this area that it spent a lot of time around at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So it did spend a lot of time around the $4 mark. I can't see it going down much further from here, especially considering they have released they're allegedly working on a somewhat successful COVID-19 treatment. So we'll see what happens there. But again, news, you guys know this. News plays the biggest role in this entire sector, so we'll just have to wait and see with the news. I am still holding my Sorrento position, so we'll see what happens there. RSI is at an absolute low. That's probably like a 20 RSI, so that's very low. I think, in my opinion, again, I'm invested. I'm holding my Sorrento position. I really can't imagine it going much lower. Again, just looking at this, it did spend a lot of time around the $4 mark. $4, nice even number. So I personally don't expect it going below $4. And again, if they release good news, I wouldn't be surprised to see it again. Like, always look at the historical data. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. I have no idea what happened back here. It was probably some similar hype news, but again, just to know what the potential of the stock is based on market cap and how big of a company is. Again, small market cap. I think Sorrento is what only. Look at market cap. It's only at 830 million. So in the grand scheme of things, and all these are $1 billion plus. Moderna is like 20 billion. So Sorrento's a small company. It doesn't take much capital or good news invested in this company to send the share price shooting up. So it makes sense that at one point in July 2015, it went up to $25. So again, if they do release really good news, I wouldn't be surprised to see it shoot up to $20. That's optimistic. Nothing is guaranteed, but yeah. As for all of these, we'll just have to see how it plays out. All right, so plug time. As you guys know, Sorrento, these biotech companies, although I am bullish on them, I am invested. They're just a small part of my portfolio, to be honest. If you guys do want to look at my entire portfolio, my entire watch list, everything I'm invested in down to the T, all call options, put options, stock positions, cryptocurrencies. You guys can check out the complete portfolio and newsletter product. Along with the portfolio, I do send out an email newsletter every single day breaking down exactly which trades I made that day and rationalizing my reasoning behind making those trades. Okay, so check that out if you're interested. First link down in the description. If you do, I appreciate it. If not, no worries at all. But yeah, and drop a comment down below if you want to talk about any of these. I know that this is probably the single sector we've talked about most on this channel, most consistently on this channel over the past couple months. So I know a lot of you guys are invested. Let me know what you guys are thinking right now. Drop a comment down below. Always love talking with you guys. And yeah, until next time, you guys, take action, make waves. Peace. Oh, I hate when I do that. All right, peace, guys. Bye.